Weird Tales magazine remains the glittering gem remembered from the pulp era, having published loads of stories from most of the revered writers of the time. Tragically, by 1937, Weird Tales had abruptly lost two of their most eminent bards, in Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft, in less than a year. Over time, the pair of them have become meritorious legends in the field of strange fiction. But what were contemporaneous pulp readers' thoughts on these men at the time? To explore this climate, we're going to examine the editorial and fan pages of Weird Tales magazine. Specifically, Weird Tales issue August 1937, 5 months after H.P. Lovecraft's death, still under the editorship of Farnsworth Wright. Starting with the cover by artist Margaret Brundit. There's a rich and vibrant contrast with the shadowy onyx blob hovering over a glamorous blonde, the eyes of a peeping creeper, a classic woman in peril trope that sold so well at the time. Now, this is from a story called Thing of Darkness by G.G. Pendarves, a pen name of a woman named Gladys Gordon, who happened to be, now get this, a silent film screenwriter of the 1920s Hollywood. She was a British novelist who had occult stories published several times for Weird Tales. Now, in the back of later issues of Weird Tales was a forum for fan letters called the Eerie. It had this black and white sketch of a bald eagle tending to its nest of eaglets. This is a section that the editor had as a social arena for pulp readers to discourse. In late summer 1937, it seems that editor Farnsworth Wright seemed inundated with enough emotional outpouring from fans that are grieving and bereavement for Howard and the friend Lovecraft that he dedicated this particular section of the Eerie as kind of a eulogy to H.P. Lovecraft. In it is some incredible insight into the man H.P. Lovecraft and the pulp era. We'll start this enriching experience with the essay from the editor Farnsworth Wright. Since the death of H.P. Lovecraft last March, there has been a growing demand for a book collection of his marvelous stories. Now it seems that Mr. Lovecraft's admirers will have their wish, for Donald Wandry and August Derleth are preparing a collection of his tales, prose miscellany, poems, and letters, which will run to at least 4 volumes. Mr. Lovecraft's letters give an insight into the man's character and show his kindliness, his scholarly qualities, and his keen, incisive analytical ability and unerring literary judgment. If any among you, our readers, have in your possession any interesting letters from Mr. Lovecraft, Wandry and Derleth would like to see them. You will be doing a service to the memory of a great literary artist by calling these letters to the attention of August Derleth, whose address is Sauk City, Wisconsin. Now, this little bit is astonishing. Right here is mentioning the genesis of Arkham House. By 1939, within 2 years, Derleth and Wandry were successful in launching Arkham House and publishing their first hardback cover of H.P. Lovecraft. Arkham House has been a very successful publisher for decades to come. They even went on to publish plenty of their own work, other pulp writers of the time, including Clark Ashton Smith, and to this day they print high-quality versions of H.P. Lovecraft's work. The fruits of this memoriam came to be The Outsider and Others, which printed over 1,200 copies, and by 1944 became out of print. As of the spring 2020, online auctions of the book have it going for roughly $2,000 on eBay, American currency. Continuing on with the letters from fans. We have Miss Hazel writes from Newtonville, Massachusetts. A brain like H.P. Lovecraft seldom was found, uncanny in its intelligence. He was ever searching for more knowledge, gleaning by endless hours of study a richer and fuller understanding of people and of life. Being a great traveler, he reveled in the study of old cities and their hidden lore, and would walk many miles to inspect some historic spot. He was a friend to all, and who knew him, always ready to give his valuable time to aid some poor, struggling author, a true guiding star. He was very partial to dumb animals, especially cats, signifying that interest in several of his tales. He would step out of his way to pat some forlorn alley cat and give it a friendly word, and the kittens of a neighbor furnished him unbounded enjoyment. He was an ardent lover of architecture and of all the fine arts, and a day spent in a museum with him was time well spent. By endless hours of toil, he worked far into the night, giving the world masterpieces of weird fiction, sacrificing his health for his work. Lovecraft was a gift to the world who can never be replaced, humanity's friend. I think Miss Hazel tribute to H.P. Lovecraft eloquence was very dear, and it nails a lot of key points to his strength of a fan of history and lore, and it really exuded in a lot of his prose and his interest with these ancient sites and like in the tomb. Howard and Lovecraft. Merle Prout writes from Stillwater, Oklahoma. The last issue of Weird Tales brought me the sad news of the death of H.P. Lovecraft. Coming so soon after the death of Robert E. Howard, the tragedy is all the more painful. I did not have the good fortune to be personally acquainted with either of these men, but so great was my enjoyment of their work that our mutual loss seems a very personal one to me. I can only add my plea to that of your other readers that the complete works of these writers be published soon in book form. With these entries, I'm seeing here that fans really did recognize the genius of these two writers, Howard and Lovecraft. They pulled in a lot of dimes in the 1920s and 30s for Weird Tales, and the tremors of their influence has molded every vein of fiction and film in immeasurable ways. This has been a Pulp Arcanum segment. Listen to the full show by searching on any podcast app now.